Hello. The name is Regis Kilbin, and today we're going to talk about an alternate build for Rexxar. This is what I'm calling, in honor of all the fallen Hearthstone heroes out there, the Face Hunter Rexxar build. And I'm calling it that because it's all about securing kills and going for the opponent's face, their squishy face. So, essentially, with this build, your goal is going to be chasing down opponents, stunning them, slowing them, and locking down kills for you and your teammates. This is not a tanky build. If you're the only tank on your team, you do not want this build. You'll be looking to be a Face Hunter Rexxar anytime you have a team that's good at chasing and good at early engagements in team fights where they do a lot of damage, and the enemy team kind of has to flee and back off and reset and heal up. When the enemy team tries to flee and get away from that, you're there to chase them down and face hunt and kill them. This build essentially just has lots of CC, crowd control that is, to lock down opponents and secure kills that would otherwise seem completely impossible. So you have to be careful when you go for this build. It's a ton of fun, but if you do it in the wrong map or the wrong team composition or against the wrong kinds of opponents, in other words, opponents with lots of escapes and invulnerabilities and unstoppables, you're going to have trouble. You're going to struggle because this is not a survivability build, and you will get wiped off the map if you're not careful. But when you're able to take the initiative and be aggressive and push forward along the map, this build can do a ton of work, and more so than a kind of bruisery build. This is almost like an assassin, stunning, almost a specialist build. Really, it's unlike anything else. So it's hard to put a label on it. But before we describe it in too much detail, let's just go ahead and look at all the talents one by one so we can see what's happening. At level 1, we're going to pick Flare. Cooldown 20 seconds. Fire a flare at an area, revealing it for 5 seconds. Now, this might not seem like a particularly offensive talent that's going to help you secure kills, but Flare does a couple cool things. It helps you set up engagements by knowing exactly where all the squishies in the back are. It can help you defend objectives and be smarter about your positioning and placement. And if somebody's hiding in a bush, guess what? No. Flare's there, and they're dead. So, there's that too. The other talents of this tier are not offensive in any way. So Grizzled Bear is all about defense. Hunter Gatherer is about defense. Survivalist Training can give you a little bit more sustain and lane early, but beyond that, it's almost useless. Yes, having health and defense is good when you're trying to secure kills, but Flare offers some extra utility, so we're going to stick with Flare here. Level 4, this is where stuff starts to get really fun. We're going to go with Crippling Talons, which increases Spirit Swoop's slow amount to 40% and its duration to 3 seconds. Spirit Swoop is your Q ability, which fires a bird in a straight line forward. It's a semi-difficult skill shot to hit, but it has a short cooldown, does a fair amount of damage, and has a 30% slow for 2 seconds. So it's a really strong ability when you're chasing people down. And Crippling Talons makes it even better because it increases that slow to 40% and makes it last 1 second longer. So it's going to be even more difficult for people to get away and even easier for you to hit them in the face. The alternate talents on this level really don't offer much. Hungry Bear is a defensive talent that gives Misha some more survivability. Taking Flight isn't too bad because it allows you to hit people farther away, but if they're that far away, it's going to be hard to secure the kill anyway because Misha won't be able to get stuns out as easily. So Crippling Talons is better because it assures the people who are closer are going to die. Finally, Easy Prey is all about doing siege damage and killing minions, and we don't care about that because we care about hitting people in the face. Level 7, we're going to go with Aspect of the Beast. Misha's basic attacks lower the cooldown of Misha Charge by 2 seconds. Misha Charge, of course, is Rexxar's W ability in which Misha lunges forward, stunning opponents for 1 1/4 seconds. And this allows you to stun them all the more often. Every time Misha basic attacks, it lowers the cooldown there. It starts at 12 seconds. If she's hitting attacks consistently, it really lowers the cooldown to about 5 seconds. So and since you're stunning them for 1 1/4 seconds, there's quite a bit of uptime here where they're stunned constantly. And that is an AoE effect, so it can hit more than one hero at once, making it unbelievably good at securing kills for you and your teammates. As far as the other talents, throwing axes might be tempting because it does allow you to do extra damage as Rexxar himself with your basic attacks because you can attack from farther away. But attacking from far away doesn't do much if you can't get the kill. Poke damage is not what this build's about. It's about getting in their face, being aggressive, and locking them down. Blood of the Rhino is a purely defensive talent, and Bird of Prey is all about siege damage and minions again, so we don't care because that's not the face. Level 10, you might be thinking that Bestial Wrath is the high damage talent and that we want to do a lot of damage with this build. That's okay to think, but you are wrong. Bestial Wrath is not that great, and it's not about securing kills, it's about leading up to a kill. We want to lock people down, and that's what Unleash the Boars is for. 75 mana, cooldown of 60 seconds, release a herd of boars that track down all enemy heroes in a direction, dealing 240 damage, revealing and slowing enemies by 40% for 5 seconds. This is the ultimate ability for hunting face. The boars will chase down anyone who's in the area of effect, whether they're stealthed or not, and it will apply a huge 5-second 40% slow, allowing you to kind of get in there, start throwing birds, start throwing axes, and start throwing around a giant big old brown bear. So Unleash the Boars is the perfect heroic ability for this build. Don't even consider Bestial Wrath. Level 13, we're going to go with Thrill of the Hunt. Your basic attacks increase both you and Misha's movement speed by 25% for 2 seconds. There's a typo there in that tooltip, but that's okay. Your movement speed is increased by 25% with every single basic attack with this talent, which is pretty good when you're chasing people down. Remember, you'll be slowing them by 40% with your Q, and you'll be traveling 25% faster. So you're going to gain a lot of ground on people and be able to chase them down for kills that would otherwise have seemed impossible. This talent is where you really start to feel this build come to life, and it's at the point in the game, usually at level 13, where there are more team fights and you're starting to move around and have some mobility and sneak out extra kills. So this is when it starts to get really fun. Wildfire Bear might seem like it's a good talent because it's a straight up extra damage talent, but the problem is if Misha's not next to people and can't keep up with them, it's hard for her to do AoE damage from Wildfire Bear. So it's better to focus on getting close and staying close because that's what you need to get kills. Bare Necessities is essentially just rewarding you for failure and doesn't really offer much for locking people down. And Bark Skin is totally just a defensive talent, so you can ignore that and pretend it doesn't exist at all. Level 16, we are going to go with Aspect of the Hawk. When Spirit Swoop hits an enemy hero, you gain 100% attack speed for 3 seconds. So again, that's your cue where the bird flies out. Anytime that hits an enemy hero, you're going to gain 100% attack speed for 3 seconds. So right now, Rexxar's attack speed is 0.87 attacks per second. That's going to double that to 1.74 attacks per second. So you're going to be throwing axes pretty rapidly. And this has a 7-second cooldown, and the uptime on that buff is 3 seconds. So you'll see that your attacks are going to be buffed quite often as long as you're hitting heroes consistently with Spirit Swoop. So when you're chasing somebody down and you swoop them and then you start attacking and you're moving faster, it's really, really difficult for them to get away. Between Misha stunning, your slows, your increased movement speed, and ultimate if you need it, they are going to be stuck. And they're going to be scared because there's a bear eating their face. So finally, level 20, we're going to go with Kill Command. If you're a Hearthstone player, you're all too familiar with Kill Command. It is the one spell that every non-hunter player hates because it is the one spell that always kills your face. And much like Kill Command in Hearthstone secures kills, man does Kill Command in Heroes of the Storm ever do the same. This upgrade to your heroic ability, Unleash the Boars, deals 50% more damage and roots enemies for 1.5 seconds. So it goes from 240 damage to 360 damage, which still isn't much as far as damage is concerned, but it also roots them for 1.5 seconds, which is forever, especially if you hit 3 or 4 people. then you can just run in and start wreaking havoc with Misha stuns and your slows and flares and anything else you've got along with your teammates. If you can't secure kills with kill command, then there's something wrong with your composition, or you picked this build when you shouldn't have. It is absolutely perfect for what it does. And don't forget, when the root of 1.5 seconds ends, you still have the standard 40% slow for the remaining 3.5 seconds. So it's just 5 seconds of utter chaos and kills to the face over and over again. It's a beautiful way to play Rexxar. So this build again is not tanky. You will die in a heartbeat if you're not being the aggressor and the initiator and your team isn't supporting the kind of play style. So you have to be really careful when you choose to play this kind of Rexxar. Face Hunter Rexxar is not an everyday build. Face Hunter Rexxar is reserved for very specific situations on the right map with the right team, and it's even better if you can build a team around it that knows beforehand what it's all about. So you can pick heroes that support this build. I don't know that Rexxar is viable in Hero League right now, especially with this alternate build. But if you get a few friends together in quick match, you can absolutely destroy enemy teams, and they'll never know